hey, Vin, we decided that we're going to do this Showboat, and you're the only person of color. We're going to do blackface. Are you okay with that?
No. Welcome to We Can't Print This,
a podcast telling the story you don't know behind the story you do.
My name is Eden Dawn.
I'm Fiona McCann.
Every week we interview a writer of some kind about the stories behind their stories. And if you like our podcast, please do us a favor and share it with a friend. Or if you super love us, you can support us on Patreon for as little as $5 a month on patreon.com/We Can't Print This.
And this week we welcome writer, actor, storyteller, producer, filmmaker, and all-round lovely person, Vin Shambry. He has performed on Broadway, toured internationally, won a kabillion awards for acting, is an acclaimed storyteller, you may have heard him on The Moth, and is currently working on a short story collection. Also wrote a movie about his childhood that was filmed in Portland last year called Outdoor School. And he is the owner and artistic director of one of our favourite arts venues and community hubs right here in Portland, Alberta House.
And Vin today talks about Outdoor School, which we should say came from a story he told at The Moth. So tying together storytelling, screenwriting, all of it.
All the writings. And it's a very much a story of his own personal experience, right? He writes about his life, real things that happened to him. I hear that one of the pieces of advice is always write what you know, which I think is a fairly obvious statement in one way.
But it's not easy because actually writing what you know, particularly in the way that Vin does, is incredibly vulnerable. And it is more difficult than you think when you are going to write a vulnerable piece about your life. And then the thing about writing is you write it for yourself and then you present it to the world. And then guess what? The world has a lot of opinions on it.
I know, that bit's weird.
That bit is so weird. That's why never read the comments is the best advice I can give to
anyone. Oh my God, never read the comments. Very hard not to though. Anyway, but yeah, you're right. It's putting something out in the world. It's coming from a very vulnerable and very personal place. And I haven't done that often in my life, but every now and again, in my career at least, there's been calls for a personal essay about something in particular. The only one time I can really think of as a significant example of this was when I wrote about, I had an eating disorder when I was 20, I think, and I wrote about it, very personal story about it for the Irish Times during like Eating Disorder Week or something like that. And it was in some ways the hardest thing for me to write, not just because I had to sort of excavate a lot of my personal pain around that and shame around it too, to be honest. I'm even feeling slightly embarrassed telling you about it now, Eden. But I think one of the hardest things, or what I hadn't really thought through at the time, was how, it is my story and I'm entitled to share it, but it was also a story that affected my family members. Yeah. And I know it was very difficult for my mother to hear that I was going to put that in the public domain, and her concerns that she was going to be judged too for not, for letting this happen somehow. And that was really complicated. I remember thinking, oh my God, like you're right. I can't write about any of my life until everybody I know has died. And that would really be waiting a very long time.
Yeah. Well, one, I think it's so important and wonderful that you wrote that piece, and I'm glad that you did. And I think that anytime people are willing to share, Vin tells us a lot of stuff about growing up being homeless and some, just absolute wildly BS racism he experienced in college. When we get to that part, you're going to really, and also like he's such a joyful person, and being able to navigate that of like being this joyful person, but telling us these stories that are so personal, but it's so important because I don't know those things. Yeah. You know what I mean?
True.
Like in the same way, like we've had to experience a lot of sexism in the journalism world, particularly I feel like coming from the fashion world, there's so much of other journalists kind of being like, oh, you write about fashion? Like, aren't you sort of a sweet young thing, you know?
Like that sort of vacuous area of journalism?
Yeah, exactly. And, so that's something that we have had to deal with that men might not understand.
In the world, not just in the journalistic world.
No, of course. And like, I have never been a black man. I've never had to experience what Vin has experienced. And so for him being able to tell us that so completely and help us understand that, and you being able to talk about what you went through, it helps other people understand, especially people who haven't experienced those things. And it's something I really love about writing, if people are able to do it. And I understand it takes a lot of strength and courage, and we're not always in the position to do it, but I am really grateful when people do.
Well, and that's the great thing about stories, right? They help you understand all different experiences and build empathy and make the world a better place. And honestly, I will say from my personal experience after writing that, it did feel really empowering. So if you have yay. So I guess, and it won't be the same for everyone, but sometimes if you have a story that's tough and really personal to you and you put it out there, you'd be surprised at how amazing that can feel.
Well, and you're reclaiming the authority over it. And we talk about that a little bit with Vin. Like once you're in the position where you want to tell the story, it becomes your story and you're able to kind of own it. And that's also a nice bit, right? Like you take the power back in the situation, which is something that writing can do.
Yeah. And Vin's a legend.
Fiona, we have a new sponsor on the show today.
Yes, and we're totally chuffed because it's Betsy and Aya, which anyone who knows me knows I spend 99% of my life in their earrings, and I have 3 of their signature bridge-inspired cuffs. And it's all designed and made here in Portland.
I have been writing about and wearing and obsessed with Betsy and Aya's ready-to-wear jewelry since they started in 2008. And now they also make gorgeous fine jewelry, including custom pieces. And Betsy actually designed the Leo constellation wedding rings that my husband and I wear.
So now you can support both our podcast and this rad family business by shopping with them through our special fancy link. It's betsyandaya.com/we can't print this.
Use that special URL to automatically get 11% off your order of ready-to-wear, but do not sleep on that fine jewelry either because it is good. You forgot to say that Vin also has the absolute best voice in the city.
Oh, stop.
You know that you do.
You do. And we really have been working on our voices, but we can't get anywhere near it.
I feel like every time I see you afterwards, I try to slow down my voice.
I remember when I was a kid, I was obsessed with The Lion King because I would be like, who is Mufasa? And I would be like, Simba. Everything that touches is our kingdom. You must never go there. And I would literally practice that all the time.
I just got goosebumps.
I did too. This is amazing.
The circle of life.
But also, I'm very concerned right now for what's going to happen near that cliff.
I know.
I'm really upset.
That's not going to be good.
You better not jump.
Vin, it is so great to have you
in
our podcast studio. Well, today we were going to talk about some of the maybe lesser known stories. You have written in so many different forms.
You're a storytelling machine.
You're a machine.
I think I am.
Yeah. And a lot of what you have put into the public is sort of very private and personal stories.
Yeah, I think when the luxury, I think, of being an actor is there's times where you can choose to be yourself or not. I think there's luxury in that. Mm-hmm. But when you're just a storyteller telling your own shit, I think you have to bring your truth no matter what. And I think as an artist, I'm really intrigued with that of what part of myself am I going to bring today? And also, how is that going to land? Because I don't know. Because most of the time, I don't know how it's going to land on my insides.
Right.
So to me, it's really fun to investigate that and see, even if I don't want to do it, I just do it.
Does it make you feel consistently vulnerable, though? Because you're like, how's it going to land? This is so personal. How's it going to land? Or you're just kind of used to that now?
I think when I wrote Outdoor School, I remember thinking, I was like, no one cares. I said that over and over. I was like, I'm sure that maybe a few people will care that this little kid was homeless and lived under a tree, but I'm really just writing this for myself. And then when I did the story, I got thousands of letters from little kids who were homeless right now, whose mother is not around, who they were just sending me things like, is your mom okay? Where are you? And I think it just hit me. I was like, wait, I guess my stories do matter. And I think stepping into that vulnerability first, I think opened an avenue for everyone else to be like, I've been there.
you've referenced 12-year-old you, who I know is at the sort of root of Outdoor School's story. Can you tell us a little bit the story behind that movie?
Maybe the one-liner for well, just
Put me on the spot. The log line of Outdoor School it's really about this boy in 1994 Portland lives these two worlds. He yearns to be a little kid, but he lives in adult situations by night. But what he realizes is that when he goes to Outdoor School, he's allowed to just be a kid. So I think it's really the evolution of realizing that when you're 12, you can just be 12. And I think that that's what I've realized being part of it, but also being one of the writers and the producer and the person where it's about, is that this is really about a journey of this little boy realizing that he's always been enough in crazy situations, but now seeing him now, that it was all worth it. Yeah. And it's about 90s Portland.
Oh my
90s
God. Now
Portland.
you're talking about, this is Eden's sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yes.
90s Portland.
This
This is her mastermind
everything.
subject.
put on my bucket hat,
Yeah.
a bucket of green slime on
Come on.
top, and then
Come
we
on.
go. People don't understand. I feel like the perception of people don't understand.
No.
Let me
I sound 1,000 years old.
I definitely don't understand.
But you know,
Oh, I
because
do.
we're very close in age, and 90s Portland looks a lot different than the Portland people know us now for.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the beauty of doing this film and having a budget where I was like, wait, okay, we have money to do this film. We're going to do it. Like, we're going to do it to the point where I need Z100 stickers. I need actual old school, Bust a Bucket, Portland Trailblazer stuff from Cool Nuts, the rapper we have in it. We have
Wait, Cool Nuts is in it?
Oh, we have we have literally lines that are about Cool Nuts Summer Jam. We have things that are so Portland on purpose to really if you know, you know.
Bust a Bucket, Blazer Duty,
Let's
Super,
go.
Sunk It, Slam It, Cheese It, Killer,
Let's
Trees It, Go Up, Get It, Got It, Good.
Oh my God.
So if you know, you know. And
Oh,
if you don't
you
know,
know.
which would be me, you definitely don't know.
I just got, that was my street cred level of cheese.
Let's go. I mean, it was it's an essence. The 90s was a strong essence here where, the slogan is, keep Portland weird now. Man, we've been weird for years. You don't need no damn
You
bumper
don't
sticker
know
for
weird.
that shit. And we didn't have it's so funny talking about this. I'm like, oh my God, do I feel old? But we didn't have bike lanes. It was just, people just ride the bike in the middle of the street just cause, so it's really interesting now. We're going to reenact what the 90s were.
Okay, first of all, I'm really excited, but I absolutely won't get any of the references. I can tell you right now. So the story is about you essentially, right? You back in the 90s.
Yeah, it's about my mother, myself, and my little sister. And I have two other sisters, and they're referred to a little bit in the movie. But it's kind of like the plight of my mother. We're homeless at that moment, no housing, fleeing from my father. And I'm going to Outdoor School. So it's showing basically us leaving the park, and we lived under this tree in Irving Park. And my mom, we would do the whole routine, go get breakfast, brush our teeth in the bathroom, everything. But then my friends didn't know that. So then I would go to school. Little Maya, she would walk with my mom, and my mom would try to find jobs. And so it was the day-to-day life of showing that, but also showing little Vin, going into nature in Oregon and kind of witnessing it, but really realizing that he's already witnessed nature and he's already kind of been
At Outdoor School,
Outdoor
essentially.
School, so it's kind of in a sense a double entendre when you watch it, because you'll see a kid witnessing outdoors, but he is the outdoors,
Yeah, that's where he lives.
And so it's a cool,
How, at that time, do you remember how much did you feel It's an interesting thing. Like, I feel like kids, we can go through so much and it just feels normal because we don't have any other experience. And did you feel kind of like, I'm just a kid?
No, or I was aware of it all.
You were aware.
Everything. I mean, I knew exactly, you know, I like to thought that I was a salesman. Like, I knew exactly what clothes I needed to bring in a backpack because I needed to go to my friend's house to do laundry. So I needed to know the exact time when we were going to eat food so that I can sneak down and put my clothes in their laundry, as you know, because I don't know if they'll let me. So everything in my mind was really strategic in trying to show these two different worlds.
Wow.
You know, but as an adult, I've had adults in Portland who said, I knew, but I didn't say anything. I didn't go to your mom because I knew what Child Protective Services would do. I knew if I did say something to a cop, what would have happened.
You'd be split up.
I guess I thought for so long I kept it secret. But I think there were parents who were concerned, but they just didn't want to get in the way because they knew what my mom was dealing with. And they knew that, like, I mean, I wasn't in the streets. I wasn't doing bad things, but like that was our situation.
When did you decide to make this a movie? And tell us how that process was, because it's like, especially this thing that you were so strategic of not knowing and not wanting people to know your life. At some point, it had to be a weird reversal to be like, now I'll tell everyone.
Yeah, now we're going
show the
fully
world.
public.
Like, it's such a swing.
It is. I think when I performed it for The Moth, I just didn't think it was going to be big, I guess. I just thought, you know, it's just a story about a black kid dealing with poverty. And then it just blew up, like, where I got a lot of messages from people. Are you shooting a film? Are you doing a book? What are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. Should I shoot a film? Should I write a film about it? And originally I was like, oh, I'll just shoot a film and I'll play my dad. I was like, that would be kind of fun because I am an actor. And then I was like, no, I don't want to play my dad. Then I was like, wait, what is this? I was like, should I talk to someone who is a filmmaker? So then I was like, let me talk to my friend Ime Took. I've worked with him in commercials and stuff where he's been a director. And Ime took me out to lunch. It was like 5 years ago. And he goes, hey, I have this thing I'm writing. Do you have anything, by the way? And I was like, well, there's this story called Outdoor School. And then he watched it and he was like, we're going to shoot that. So within like 2 weeks, we were like, okay, we have cameras, let's shoot it.
What?
Literally. And we're like,
you don't mess around, Vin.
Yeah, you always move fast.
And we say, not only we're going to shoot the film, what if we do a workforce development where we train people of color behind the camera? So then they're about to be in this feature film, so they get a SAG budget film on their resume. And then all of a sudden, Outdoor School for All sent me a message, and they are this organization that basically fundraises to have outdoor school for all of Americans, for all kids. And so to them, they were like, what better way for us to raise money for you, a film where we want your film to go national so that we, our organization, can back it, and they know that we are trying to get money for the whole entire United States. So we're going to fundraise $500,000 for you guys. And I was like, okay.
I'm so excited you did that, though, when kids had it, because it is a formative time for
so
not only being outside, but like kids to be away from their parents. It's where we learned how to play suck and blow.
Yep.
Well, I don't know what that is, but is that X-rated? What is even happening?
No,
that sounds
you know what it is,
Oh,
right?
I do know what it is.
Okay, hold on.
You take a card, where you take a card and one person puts just like a deck of cards, and you put it to your mouth and you suck it in to make it, and then you stick, and then you go mouth to mouth with the person next to you, and then you blow it while they suck it to make it stick. And then if you don't do it right, oh no. Oh,
you're kissing in its open mouth.
Oh no, you're kissing.
Yeah.
Why did they never tell me about this when I was growing up?
Man,
I don't know.
We rock here in Oregon. We don't
I tell
play.
you what, you do.
We got...
For the Irish audience, kiss and blow. What's it? Suck and blow. Suck and
It's
blow.
called Suck and Blow, which really is a far more scandalous name
It
than
is.
what happens, because I feel like 99% of the time the card does not fall.
No.
It's just that, like, temptation. Or it's tantalizing that it might fall.
You have to kind of angle yourself beside the right person as well.
You're sitting in a circle. It's kind of like, but like spin the bottle was like too forward where we're like, obviously you're going to kiss. But this is more like, you might, and it wouldn't be your fault. But you definitely tried to like sit next to somebody hot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and none of the people knew because we're like, we're going to go play war.
Oh, that's what you called it?
Oh, yeah.
Different kind of battle.
That's
now
right.
we've exposed
Anyways, all I'm saying is outdoor school is important for kids on a lot of different levels.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, for their card playing skills.
I mean, and even in the movie, I mean, I even write about this where I just remember all of the like conversations on the bus, because you have a lot of kids like, I go camping every day. I know exactly what to do. I go crowd fishing. I do blah, blah, blah. I didn't know what was going on. I just had my JanSport backpack. I'm just chilling.
Is there any other kind?
Right. And so I think
wow,
for
you
me,
could have really dropped some knowledge there, though.
I could.
I'd be like, excuse me, you go camping every day?
Exactly.
Let me tell you something.
And I just remember thinking, too, these moments of like, now I was equipped. I did have all the tools, I just couldn't say it. I couldn't tell them that actually I am an outdoors person.
Yeah.
I'm just in a whole different way.
Wow. Yeah. And did you play your dad in the end or no?
I didn't. So the process of basically, before we cast it, so Simon Max Hill casted it, and he cast Shrill, Portlandia, all the places, everything here in Portland. Here. He's great. Super weird, love him. So originally they were like, what do you want to do, Vin? And I was like, well, I don't want to play my dad because I actually think my dad should be like not a famous person, but someone who is, this good looking black guy who's charismatic, but violent. And I was like, I don't know if I want to live in that world.
Yeah.
What I can do is I can play like present Vin, where if you think of like the Wonder Years, where the voice.
I got that reference.
Yeah. So
she got a pop culture reference.
You got it.
Yeah.
We're with you. We got you, Ireland people. Don't worry. Y'all fine. But it's that. It's like I realize that in a sense I am the conscience of the film, but the star is little Vin, this little black boy, 11 years old, that we found here in Portland, Oregon.
I love it.
Who goes to Martin Luther King Elementary School. And he's not an actor. And so we did this whole huge national search and went to LA, went to New York. And so with Simon Max Hill, we opened up churches. We had these huge like cattle calls. As an actor, I know that life, but the movie is about my fucking life. And I had these moments of being like, whoa, weird. Like these people want to be in this movie, which is my movie.
To play you.
And to play little Vin. And it was a trip, like being in the process. And when I walked in, and his name is Carter Holiday, when we walked into this lunchroom.
It's a good name.
It is kind of perfect. So we walked in and we were sent there to go look for these two little black girls who could play my little sister. And we saw them, they were like eating food. And then all of a sudden, little Carter walks up. He has this like chicken dinner. And he goes, yo, what's up? What's your name? I was like, my name's Vin. What's yours? He's like, my name's Carter. Come sit down. And I was like, okay. So I sit down.
Oh, wow,
And
Carter.
he goes, you like chicken? And I was like, nah, man, I'm vegetarian. He goes, I don't know what that is, but I was like, yo, I talked to the kitchen lady. She puts extra spice in this chicken. And I was like, oh, you like that? And she's like, yeah. He goes, Vin, you know what? I'm a hustler. And so we end up casting him. And we cast the Zion, which is his little friend who goes to Martin Luther King Elementary too. So the two stars are from Portland. And then Cecily, who is playing my mom, is an actress here in Portland. So we got the three main principals, born and raised here. And then my father is an Atlanta actor. And then we got a bunch of LA actors for like small roles throughout the film. Every day was like a religious experience for me. It was like the awareness of the whole crew knew that the movie was about me, and them reenacting poverty, and then all of them crying. seeing it, but then crying when they see me because I'm watching it. It was a game with Carter because every moment he was becoming an actor, but with myself, but it was through my poverty. So there was moments where I'd be like, yes, my dad hit my mom right there, and then you grab the bag. And he goes, wait, he really hit her? Yes. And he go, where? I'm like, well, he hit her like this. And so he would watch the rehearsal of the actual adult actors do it.
Whoa.
And then we would shoot his scenes. And so there would be moments when I would witness it, watch him, and then I would have to take a break and go on my trailer and cry and be fine. And then I'd come back out, work with him. And working with Ime was incredible because Ime is one of those directors where he knows the backbone of the whole film, but he also knows how heavy this is and how important it is for me.
What level of this felt like you were just re-traumatizing yourself versus what level maybe felt cathartic to see these things again, but to have some power and some like ownership in it?
Yeah, there's this one scene at outdoor school. Basically, I talk about like on the school bus, everyone cries at the very end because you're just so sad it's over and you just cry on the school bus, and
plus nobody's had any sleep.
Exactly. You just have a blast.
Yeah.
And I remember when we wrote that scene, and that was the moment in real life when we did the friendship circle, when like they were all like, Vin, you're a good guy. Like, you care about us. Yeah. Like, you're a jokester, you're this. And then that's when I lost it, or like little Vin. But in the actual shoot, we were at outdoor school. It was the second day. It was like 10:30 at night. Carter was done. Yeah, he was like hungry. He started at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And Ime and I talked about this. It was like, that's the time when he's magic. When he's done, when he doesn't want to do shit, that's when
really
you get the
raw.
best out of him.
Guard is down.
Yes. And it started to rain. It was like perfect. And I had this moment where I was like, oh my God, seeing this little black boy bawl in a counselor's arms is exactly what I did. But it was a moment, every moment in that movie felt so freeing, and I was in charge of it. Mm-hmm. And I was never in charge of it, like as a kid.
Yeah. When you lived through it.
Even in therapy, I was never in charge of it. And now it's been such a journey because I am in charge of it. And now it's out of my hands, but it's in other people. But it's just been something where now it's kind of a fun ride where every single time I feel great after.
When is the premiere and what are we wearing?
Oh, the premiere is definitely 2024.
Okay.
We're pretty sure March 2024. We have some Sundance whispers, which is very exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Sundance.
Yes, Sundance. So we'll see what that does.
It'll be a whole other trip to have it be experienced by the world at large, won't it?
And then have to do the press circuit and all of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
What a weird thing to just
Vin, you gotta gear up.
over and over.
We saw the director's cut already, and to see it with music was an experience.
Yeah.
To say the least. And I think we have a movie. So that's exciting. We have a movie, and it's a movie about 90s Portland.
I can't wait.
So it shows 90s Portland, but nature and black joy and just a lot of things that Portlandia didn't, that I'm excited.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be so great. And you are truly one of the most brilliant storytellers I've ever met in my life. So I know it's going to be so good. And you got cool nuts.
Stop. He's so dope.
You got cool nuts.
So dope. I do have a secret story that I can tell you a little bit.
Please do.
This is
we love a secret story.
I think what I learned about outdoor school is kind of launched this idea of like, I should write a book, and it should be kind of like archival of my life. It could be high school and all this other stuff. So basically I graduated, and went to Wyoming for school. And the only reason why I went to Wyoming is because I literally wrote this on the application. I say, here's why you need me to go to your school. I was like, I can be the black guy on the brochure. And that's the first thing I wrote. I said,
and lo and behold, they offered you a place.
I said, if you give me a full ride, I will be the black guy on the brochure. And I got in.
And are you still on the brochure?
I am still on the brochure.
Oh, yes.
I am absolutely still on the brochure. And that was my first scholarship I got. And I knew that I wanted to go there for theater and musical theater. So the first show that they were auditioning was basically Showboat, in this old classical musical theater piece. And the role was Old Man River, Joe. And I have a low voice and I love to sing old classical musical theater. So I was like, I think I have a good chance of getting this role. So I sang the song and it was just me and the director. And I was like, where's everyone else? You know, they're probably in the back. So then I go through the thing and the cast list is already up. So I was like, oh, so I got the role and didn't know that I got it. I just sang it. And then I looked to the left and all of the roles have been assigned. And in Showboat, there is white people and black people.
Why did they choose this musical? Question one.
And this is Vin coming in, you know, Wyoming. I got my scholarship. I'm about to take my pictures a week later for the brochure. So I'm there, you know. And then I'm like, oh, great, I get to sing this musical. I do like this song. Where is everyone? Cast list, the woman who plays my wife, her name is Mikola. I won't give her last name. And I was like, okay, where's this black girl? Let me see her. So I go in, just a sea of white girls crying. And I was like, did you see the list? And I was like, yeah, I got the lead. And they're like, I'm your wife. And I was like, what? But you can't, because I was like, there's black people in this. So he goes, we're all the black people. And I was like, what do you mean? Go talk to Jamie, our director. So I go into the room and Jamie's like, hey, Vin, you know, we decided that we're going to do this show, Showboat, and you're the only person of color. We're going to do blackface. Are you okay with that?
No.
And so this is 19-year-old Vin.
What the fuck?
And I didn't know what blackface, I didn't know what it meant at that time. I didn't know what blackface meant. And I said, what do you mean? And they're like, well, we're going to paint ourselves, some of the people, and we're going to find your complexion and we'll be fine. And I was like, okay. I didn't know what was going on. And I think I was just excited to be there. I had a full ride scholarship.
You got the lead.
And I was like, I got it.
You're also the only black person in the room, and you can't
like
be
real black. I was the only.
You're the only actual black person in the room, and it's unfair to count you to be the one to educate everybody else on their.
It was my job.
Foolery.
Yeah. So, our first day of tech, I will never forget this. I walk in and Mikola is just crying, like putting on foundation, black charcoal foundation. I am not black charcoal. I am like mocha. The person who originated blackface was Al Jolson. And Al Jolson was this performer. And minstrel performer. Yeah. And the reason why he did it is he actually went to basically a nightclub and saw black people doing stand-up almost, like almost improv comedy. And they sold out the joint. And they were hilarious and awesome. And he was in the back observing it. And he was like, this is it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put black on my face and I'm going to keep my lips the same, but I'm going to do this. So then I walk in and I see them doing this. They were black, like black. I mean, literally black. And we're doing my song, Old Man River. My wife is coming next to me. She's kissing me. It's all on my face. It's all on my clothes.
Oh my God.
My homies from Portland drove from Portland to Wyoming.
To
see me opening night. And I did not tell them because I didn't know what to say. And I just remember seeing them center being like, yo, bro, are you good? Like they were like looking at me like, do you need help?
Do we need to intervene?
Like, do we need to take you out? And it was this experience where like, it traumatized me in college, and I never said anything because I didn't know that it was illegal. I didn't know that like it was banned basically in the 40s.
And also this power dynamic where like the director of your first show was like, you're cool with that, aren't you, Vin?
Yeah.
What are you going to say?
That's why so much fucked up stuff has happened at schools over the years is because of the dynamic between the authority figure.
Yes.
We're always
Who has
taught
the power.
Yeah, you're
Exactly.
at school and he's probably a teacher and the director.
Yep.
And so you're like, oh, I'm supposed to listen to them. And they say, hey, we're going to do this. You're cool, right?
Yeah.
Like even that asking
or
of the
are
question.
you not cool?
I want to
like,
know, was she crying because she felt bad about doing such a stupid thing? Or was she crying because she was just...
I think, and you know, the pictures are still on Facebook. They would cry because I think they were more embarrassed about putting on them face opposed to being embarrassed for me.
Right.
No, not at all.
They were embarrassed about how they felt like they looked. They
Yeah.
weren't embarrassed that they were doing something that is not a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Wow, I am so
Yeah.
when
sorry.
was this? Like what era
Oh my
are we
God.
talking
Late
about?
90s.
This was basically 4 years after Matthew Shepard in Wyoming. This black kid coming from Oregon, and I was like, from my poverty that I told no one. So I was this kid really excited to leave, you know, because I was like, oh my God, I got scholarships
Fresh
because
start.
I wanted to be the black kid on the brochure. And then I became literally working with blackface and like, and it's funny, it's the next movie that I'm brewing, you know, because I have pictures of all of us. I have the cast pictures of them. I have all the makeup all over my face. Like,
Oh my
and
God.
I did it. You know, I did the whole show, the whole run. Like,
You did the whole
Yeah.
run?
What?
You guys did it more than the one night?
we did the show like 20 times.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Oh my
Yeah,
Wait.
it was the first show for Wyoming. And
were there-
not nothing.
Are there-
No one complained.
Fiona can't get it. She can't
Yeah.
even get a sentence
And this
out.
was like 90s. So this wasn't like 60s.
This must have been like 99 or something,
Yes.
right?
Oh,
this is
yeah.
where this-
I mean, think about it. Like, it could have been on CNN. I could have Karen them. I could have
Oh,
done.
you could
I
have.
could have sued. Like,
now.
Yeah, but
there's
they had the
no-
power in that moment, and I think it's those exact conversations that are so problematic. Where it's like, you know, you're cool, right, Vin?
Yeah.
You're cool.
because what do you do in that situation? Like, I was asked on behalf of all black people, was that
Yeah.
okay? And I am 19 years old.
It's your first
Fucking
show.
moving to Wyoming.
Not in a place of power.
No.
Not
in any way.
Not even in a place of knowing anybody.
I never spoke about it until my friends came because it was during Christmas break. It was our last week. We drove back to Portland and they were like, get in the car. Like, we going back to Portland. The hell's wrong with you? And it's funny. It's been one of those stories where I've always wanted to tell. And I just like, I think it needs to be shown. You know, I need to show the experience because I have the pictures of it all.
Jesus.
It was a trip. This is why I think the brilliance of storytelling is now it's never left like inside my body. So now what fun way can I bring it out? You know, I can bring it out in
Ooh, that's going to
film
be
form.
a great movie.
I think that's the thing is like, I always ask the question, why is it still inside of me? Why do I still think about it? And I think about it because it needs to come out in some sort of artistic form. And I think now I'm starting to realize that I have the platform to do that. And I think it's time.
It's time.
It's time. We're going to wrap up, but one thing I want to say before we go is that I also think you do such a wonderful job in this city for people to know of with your venue, Alberta House, of helping other people tell their stories and making it this place that community is shared and stories are told and people get to work out our own levels of trauma in your hallowed walls.
Yeah.
And I just love that about you. And for anybody who doesn't know about it, they should go look up the historic Alberta House and get to a show there.
and have a great time.
And have a
And
great...
also, there's still ways to support
Outdoor School, the movie.
the movie.
Yes, outdoorschoolthemovie.com. And
go there. You can support it.
Please. And albertahouse.org. Please support us. We're nonprofits struggling, but not internally struggling.
Not internally struggling.
Never.
No, but you're giving great stuff.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
I love the way she likes to build that up, and
I like
then you
to
never
build
know.
up, and then I looked at my script, and it says, "Thank you."
It's really good.
Thank
But
you
I
to
mean
Vin.
it in my heart, Ben. Thank you, Vin.
Thank you guys so much.
So Vin's website is vinshambry.com. You can look up all of his fanciness. Do you like people to go to your Instagram? Do you want us to say it or
go to my Insta.
Yeah, it's at Vin Time.
That's me.
That's it for We Can't Print This for today. See more info about our episodes, including transcripts, links to things we talked about. You better believe I'm going to put up some 90s. Go look at our Instagram stories at We Can't Print This, on our website, wecan'tprintthis.com, or our Twitter.
Yeah. And a reminder that also we aren't backed by anyone. We're just two independent journalists giving you an insider look at writing because we love it. And you could always support our work and the podcast by becoming a monthly supporter on Patreon. Thank you also to our producer, Miranda Schaefer, and to Dave Depper for our intro music. This podcast was recorded at the Writer's Block in Portland. And a very big special thanks to our third office mate, Rachel Ritchie, for bringing her Virgo energy into this Leo Aries cacophony.
Always have a Virgo in your life when you're a creative person trying to get some shit done. You really always have a Virgo in your life.
Thanks, Rachel.
If you're a writer with a great behind the story, write to us at wecan'tprintthis@gmail.com, and we will read it and then forget to respond for a little bit.
Yeah.
That is how emails work.
Try and beat this story. That's what I say.
Try and beat this story.
The bar is high, Vin. The bar is high.
Bring it.
Oh, Lord.
Woo!